Joe Flacco out there looking good. They have shell today. No, it looked like they just got helmets. It looked like just helmets. Real light there today. There we go. 12. Dylan Gabriel and Shedeur is out there, man. Let's see this here. I don't know, this is, guys, when it's all said and done, let's say 5.
So once again, as I said before, the Cleveland Browns had their practice today, right before game week, which is next week against the Cincinnati Bengals. Shedeur Sanders looked the same, nothing different, but of course we're going to continually highlight Shedeur Sanders all throughout his football career, because that's what we do here on Mad Dog TV. I'm gonna play this video clip and let you guys see the few clips of Shedeur Sanders, a little bit of his reps, and then I'm gonna show you guys.
Don't skip a single second of this video. And if this story touches your heart, give it a like, subscribe to the channel, and let us know in the comments. Where are you watching from? Let's begin. You ever have one of those moments in football where you stop, rewind the tape, and go, wait, did they really just do that? That's exactly what we just witnessed with the Cleveland Browns. Because let's be real, what they just did with Shedeur Sanders is not some routine roster shuffle. No, this was a move that sent a shockwave through the entire NFL. And if you're not paying attention, you're already behind the curve. Think about this. Every year, rookie quarterbacks get drafted. They come in, they get a little buzz, maybe a preseason highlight or two, and then most of them vanish. They're buried on the practice squad, stashed away, forgotten about until maybe a year later. That's how the system works. That's how teams protect themselves. But the Browns just tore that script to shreds. They refused to put Shedeur Sanders on that practice squad. And that's not just protection. That's a message. A loud, unmistakable message to the rest of the league. Hands off. This kid is ours. Now let's not sugarcoat this. That kind of decision doesn't happen for just anybody. You don't get that treatment if the front office thinks you're average. You don't get that treatment if the coaches believe you're just another camp arm. You only get protected like that if the franchise believes you are something rare, something they cannot risk losing. And that's exactly the signal Cleveland just sent. Because here's the truth. Once you're on the practice squad, you're fair game. Any team, any GM, can swoop in, sign you, and suddenly you're gone. It happens all the time. But the Browns looked at Shedeur Sanders and said, nope, not this guy, not today, not ever. And to me that says everything. That's not just about potential, that's about fear. Fear that if they don't lock him down, another team is going to come in, see what they see, and steal him away. And let's be honest, there are plenty of quarterback-hungry teams out there right now who would love nothing more than to take a chance on Shedeur. This is bombshell-level stuff, because you've got to understand the history here. The Cleveland Browns are a franchise that's been desperate for quarterback stability for decades. We're talking about a revolving door at the most important position in football. They've tried everything. First-round draft picks, high-priced free agents, trades, short-term fixes, and over again they've come up empty. But with Shedeur it feels different. It feels like the organization is saying, this time we're not letting our shot slip away. And let's be real here. If they didn't believe Shedeur was special, he'd already be on that practice squad. Simple as that. This isn't charity. This isn't about giving him time. NFL teams don't waste roster spots. They protect what they know they can't afford to lose. So the fact that Shedeur's not only still here but being locked down like this tells me Cleveland sees something they're not ready to admit out loud just yet, but something that every fan watching can feel. So when I look at this move, I don't see third-string quarterback. I don't see rookie project. I see a warning shot to every other team in the league. I see a franchise that's been burned too many times finally saying, we've got something real, and you're not taking it from us. And that's why this decision matters. That's why the NFL is buzzing right now. Because moves like this don't happen in silence. They don't happen without meaning. And if you read between the lines, what the Browns just told us is simple. Shedeur Sanders is not just another name on the roster. He's the future. And trust me, if Cleveland truly believes that, if they're right about what they've got, then the rest of the NFL just got put on notice. So let's really talk about it. Shedeur Sanders and his fit with the Cleveland Browns. Because look, it's one thing for a rookie quarterback to flash in practice. It's another thing to actually belong inside an NFL locker room. And make no mistake, Shedeur belongs. Right now the depth chart says he's QB3. Dylan Gabriel is the one getting reps above him. And Deshaun Watson's shadow still hangs over everything Cleveland does. On paper, that should mean Shedeur's just waiting, holding a clipboard, learning from the sidelines. But if you've actually been watching the buzz around this team, you know that's not the whole story. This kid is generating more hype, more conversation, and honestly more genuine excitement than some starters around the league. And that's not exaggeration, that's reality. Think about the position he's in. A rookie, third string, barely getting reps in practice. Most guys in that spot fade into the background. They're invisible. But Shedeur, he's the opposite. Every time he steps onto the field, whether it's a warm-up throw, a quick rep, or even just standing with the headset on, people are paying attention. Cameras find him. Fans chant for him. Media writes about him. And you can feel it. There's this energy around Shedeur that doesn't exist for just any player. And it's not just hype for hype's sake. You can see why teammates are buying in. They talk about his composure. They talk about his confidence. He doesn't look like some wide-eyed rookie. He looks like a quarterback who already knows how to carry himself in a pro locker room. That's not normal. That's not common. That's presence. Now let's be real. He's still got to fight. Dillon Gabriel has draft capital invested in him. Kevin Stefanski's system isn't exactly rookie-friendly. And we all know the leash is short when you're not the guy handpicked by the front office. But here's the upside. Learning under Stefanski, in this system with the weapons Cleveland has, might actually be the perfect situation for Shedeur. He's not being thrown into the fire too early. He's getting time to study, time to grow, time to absorb without the pressure of having to save the season right now. That's how long-term success is built. And don't underestimate the fans in all this, because Browns fans, they see it. They've lived through disappointment after disappointment, and they can smell when something's different. Shedeur jerseys are already moving. His name is already trending. And let's be honest, you don't see that happen for a third-string quarterback. That's rare. That's culture shifting. So when you put it all together, the depth chart, the locker room respect, the coaching fit, and the fan energy, you start to realize that Shedeur's fit in Cleveland isn't just about where he lines up today. It's about what's coming. It's about a city and a team that feels like it might finally have something real to believe in. And if this is the baseline, if this is Shedeur Sanders as QB3, imagine what happens the moment he gets real snaps. Imagine the explosion of energy the first time he steps in against a division rival. Because that's where this is heading. And whether the Browns admit it out loud or not, the fit is already undeniable. Let's be real. For every fan who believes in Shedeur Sanders, there's a critic ready to tear him down. And you don't have to look far to find them. Turn on ESPN, scroll through Twitter, flip on local Cleveland radio. The narrative is everywhere. He's just hype. He's just a name. He's just Prime's kid riding his father's coattails. And honestly, I'm sick of it. Because here's the truth. When analysts dismiss Shedeur as nothing more than a marketing tool, they're not just questioning him, they're exposing the bias that's poisoned quarterback evaluations for decades. You've got guys like Tony Grossi sitting there rattling off preseason stats, pointing out that Shedeur was playing with the threes, and acting like that erases everything else we've seen. Then on the other side, you've got Tony Rizzo, a guy who's been around this game for 40 years, saying flat out, I think this kid can play better than Dillon Gabriel. That debate wasn't just two talking heads arguing. That was the entire Shedeur conversation boiled down to one heated exchange. Believers versus doubters. And let's be honest, the doubters always sound the same. They hide behind numbers. They hide behind context. Oh, he only threw against backups. Oh, the pocket was cleaner. Oh, it doesn't mean anything. Funny how those excuses never come up when it's their favorite prospect making those exact same throws. Funny how when another rookie QB shows poise in a meaningless preseason drive, it's called growth and promise. But when Shedeur does it, suddenly it's dismissed as flash. This isn't new. We've seen this before. Jalen Hurts had to go through it. Lamar Jackson had to go through it. Black quarterbacks in this league have always been judged with a different measuring stick. And anyone pretending otherwise just isn't being honest. The word hype gets thrown around a lot when the quarterback doesn't fit the mold, when the last name carries weight, when the spotlight feels too bright. But here's the reality. Shedeur didn't choose the spotlight. He was born into it. And instead of crumbling under it, he's handling it with more composure than guys twice his age. And that's where the pressure comes in. This isn't just about football for Shedeur Sanders. It's about legacy. It's about carrying the weight of being Deion Sanders' son. Every throw he makes, every snap he takes, it's judged against not only what's on the tape, but what people expect from the Sanders name. That's a burden most quarterbacks will never know. And yet Shedeur doesn't flinch. He doesn't hide. He takes the field, blocks out the noise, and keeps showing flashes of exactly why he deserves to be in this conversation. So when I hear analysts dismiss him as just hype, I can't help but push back. Because hype doesn't command respect in a locker room. Hype doesn't get veterans nodding their heads after practice. Hype doesn't move merchandise, create buzz, and put pressure on coaches to reevaluate depth charts. That's not hype. That's impact. Real, undeniable impact. And the scary thing for the critics, the more they try to discredit Shedeur, the more fuel they're giving him. Every doubt, every jab, every lazy comparison, it all stacks up as motivation. And if history has taught us anything, it's that quarterbacks who carry a chip on their shoulder, especially ones with the talent to back it up, are the most dangerous kind. So yeah, the doubters are loud. The critics are relentless. The pressure is real. But here's the question that keeps me up at night. What happens when Shedeur proves them all wrong? Because if that day comes, and I believe it will, all of this hype talk is going to look really foolish. Let me tell you what's really happening behind the scenes with Shedeur Sanders. Because if you're only looking at the box scores, the preseason stat lines, or the official team depth chart, you're missing the story. The real story isn't written on paper, it's written on the practice field. And every single report that's come out, every clip we've seen, points to one thing. This kid is different. You watch Shedeur take reps, even limited ones, and it jumps off the screen. The accuracy, the calmness, the way the ball jumps out of his hand with velocity and touch. You can see it in the way he processes defenses, the way he adjusts protections, the way he doesn't panic when the pocket starts collapsing. That's not hype. That's not some marketing campaign. That's football IQ, and it's showing up every single day in practice. And the teammates, they feel it too. You don't have to be in the huddle to know when a quarterback has presence. The energy shifts, the body language changes, veterans start paying attention. And from everything I've read and seen, that's what's happening with Shedeur in Cleveland. He's not acting like a rookie who's happy just to be here. He's carrying himself like a quarterback who expects to lead, and that rubs off on everyone around him. That's why I keep saying the idea that Shedeur is just hype falls apart the second you actually watch how he handles himself. It's the way he commands the huddle, the way he keeps his eyes downfield under pressure, the way he delivers the football on time, in rhythm, like he's been doing this for years. This is a rookie who already looks like he belongs in the league. And if you've been around football long enough, you know how rare that is. Think about how many young quarterbacks come into the NFL and look lost. They look shaky. They look like projects. And sure, some of them develop, but a lot of them never figure it out. With Shedeur, you don't see that. You see confidence. You see adaptability. You see growth. Every single rep is making him sharper. Every week of practice, he looks more comfortable. That's not hype. That's progress. That's development. And here's the part that should get Browns fans excited. The organization knows it. You don't protect a rookie quarterback like this unless you see something worth protecting. You don't risk a roster spot for a kid you don't believe in. The Browns could have played it safe. They could have stashed him on the practice squad, crossed their fingers, and hoped nobody noticed. But they didn't. They made a statement. They kept him right where other teams can't touch him. Why? Because they know exactly what they have. This isn't about jersey sales. This isn't about hype. This is about a team that's been desperate for quarterback stability for decades, finally realizing they might have something special in their hands, something they can't afford to let slip away. So when I watch Shedeur Sanders behind the scenes, when I hear the whispers, when I see the clips, I don't see a question mark. I don't see a project. I see the future. And I think deep down the Browns see it too. If you're a Cleveland Browns fan, you already know what it feels like to hope. You know what it feels like to dream about the guy, only to watch disappointment after disappointment walk through that tunnel. Quarterbacks have come and gone. Draft picks have been wasted. Seasons have collapsed before they even started. It's been decades of heartbreak. But every now and then football gives you a sign, a glimpse, a moment where you can feel something shifting. And that's exactly what we're witnessing right now with Shedeur Sanders. This isn't just about a rookie quarterback being kept on the roster. It's about a city and a franchise that's been starving for stability, finally saying we can't let this one slip away. Because let's be honest, Shedeur might not be the starter today, but his time is coming. Whether it's this season or next, he will get his chance. And when he does, this roster decision, this bold move to protect him when most teams would have stashed him, will be remembered as the moment Cleveland quietly admitted they knew what they had all along. And fans, you can feel it too. You can feel it in the energy at camp. You can feel it in the way the media can't stop talking about him. You can feel it in the way his jersey sales are already making noise. There's something different here, something real, something you don't see with every rookie quarterback. This isn't hype, this is momentum. And once momentum starts rolling in the NFL, it doesn't stop. Now, I'm not saying Shedeur Sanders is going to walk in tomorrow and turn the Browns into Super Bowl contenders overnight. But what I am saying is this: he's got the tools, the pedigree, the presence, and the chip on his shoulder to become the franchise quarterback Cleveland has been searching for. He doesn't look rattled. He doesn't look overwhelmed. He looks ready. And that's why I believe. That's why I'm telling you as a fan, it's time to start believing too. Because this isn't just about one player. It's about a city that deserves hope. It's about a fan base that's carried the weight of constant disappointment finally being able to look at someone and say, maybe this is the guy. And if you've been paying attention, you know what I know. Shedeur Sanders has the chance to be that guy. So here's my message to every Browns fan watching. Believe now, before the rest of the league catches on. Believe now, before the national media tries to rewrite the story. Believe now, because when Shedeur Sanders finally steps onto that field as the true QB1 of the Cleveland Browns, you're going to want to say, I saw it coming. And let me ask you this: how long do you think it'll take before the Browns finally unleash him? Do you think it happens this year? Next year? Drop your predictions in the comments, because this saga is far from over. All I know is this: Shedeur Sanders is more than a name, more than hype, more than a story. He might just be the quarterback Cleveland has been waiting for. And if that's true, this could be the start of something historic.